What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we're going to do I think it's an $87.50 mixed coin roll hunt. Unfortunately, you can see I wasn't able to get all customer wrap change for this one, but that's okay. We'll have a few rolls of Brinks, nickel wraps, and some dimes. So hopefully it doesn't make a difference in the hunt. We will be going through what we're looking for in each denomination as we get to it. I'm excited to jump into these coins, so let's get to it. Now, as we get into these pennies, I did want to stop and just remind you guys that I do have a document in the description down below this video, and it is quite extensive. It covers everything that I typically hunt from $half all the way down to pennies, and I went ahead and printed it out so you guys could kind of see it. This is double-sided, and yes, I made the print really, really big for my old eyes. Even when I have it on the computer screen, I like it because the print is really, really big. A couple of things to point out in here that we do have key dates, semi-key dates, varieties, errors, you name it. And within the pennies, I do have a really cool little chart that shows all of the at least expected number of copper pennies you would have in a roll based on its weight, which is pretty interesting. And down in here somewhere, there is a link to a penny mat that has all of the pennies we look for and a nice little table. So if you're looking for something like that, that's a nice little reference sheet. I usually keep this out while I hunt pennies to help me just quickly identify what I need to get. So that document is in the description down below this video and all my coin roll hunts. And we're going to go ahead and start by jumping into this one because it's taped. I love my taped rolls because for whatever reason, there's a lot of older collectors that when they got done wrapping stuff, if it was really kind of valuable, they usually taped it shut. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to find anything, but that's what I typically find. Come on. Can't get through the tape. So I'm seeing some copper there. There's a 64, probably D on that end, and it looks like we maybe have some zinc on this end. Let's go ahead and get this open. Look at the color in this roll. There is lots of older looking copper in here. Could just be really patinaed zinc. But let's see. Yeah, there's some newer coins in here too. So that's a 64D copper. And we definitely have some newer stuff. So this probably didn't come from a collector. I think that's a 98. We'll check that for the wide AM. Going through these kind of quickly to see if we find anything good. I do, like I said, I do see some copper in here. Is that an 88? Yeah, that's an 88. So we've got a 76 copper. We've got a 72D, which I think there's a bunch of, I know there's a bunch of DDOs on the 72. Looking at my cheat sheet, the 72D might have some sort of die rotation on it. That's just a 91. We do have a 2009 commemorative. Let me check that for the DDR. Not seeing that. We'll hang on to that for right now. The 2009 was a commemorative. It did come in 4 different designs for the reverse. There is a 78D. And anything I'm putting aside, I will go back and put under the scope, and we will check it for DDOs and DDRs. Here we have an 82 large date Denver that I believe is copper. Now 82s were split years. I am going to weigh that separately. If it weighs 3.1 grams, it's going to be copper. If it weighs 2.6, we know that is going to be copper plated zinc and of no extra value to me. Now, one of the most common questions I get is, why do I hang on to all the copper? Well, a copper's worth about, that's a 1981D, they're worth about 2.8 cents per penny in copper. And they're only worth a penny at the store. So I hang on to them for their copper. That was a 1960D we just put aside there. 94 does have a little DDR possibility. 89D has a transitional reverse possibility. There's a 73D. Lots of copper in this roll. 74. That's a 78 right there. Another 78. Can't even get a date off of that. Looked zinky though. Sounds zinky too. Is zinky a word? I don't know. All right, so not a whole lot else in there. We did get a sticker. Apparently we passed some kind of inspection. But that is a lot of copper for a single roll. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 coppers in that roll. And like I said, I'll go back off camera. If I find any varieties or errors in there, I'll be sure to bring you back in. Other than that, we'll get into the next roll. Well, we finished making it through the pennies and we didn't find too much of interest, but I did stack these by the number of coppers we found in each roll. We had 13 in roll 1, 7 in roll 2, 6 in roll 3, 4 in roll 4, and 6 in roll 5, which was 37 copper coins, which is worth about $1.05 to $1.06 at today's copper price. We did come across 2 of the commemorative years. I think we found this one in the very first roll with you. We found one more along the way, but nothing else too exciting in those pennies. But as usual, we're going to hang on to all of our copper and hope copper continues to go up or penny value just continue to rise as the mint phases them out in 2026. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into some of these bank-wrapped nickels. All right, well, we're going to do these nickels a little bit differently because we're going to go ahead and open all 5 rolls on camera and lay them out and hope we find some buffaloes or some V-nickels or at least maybe something a little bit old. Now, within the nickels, we're mainly looking for pre-1964. That's where the majority of the errors are going to be. There are errors on some of the newer coins, and we look for those too, but the majority of the stuff that I really hope to find is in the older nickels. We're also really partial towards our silver war nickels, which are going to be 1942 to 1945, and 42 is a split year, so you're going to want to check that 42 for a mint mark just above the top of the building. So that's something you want to keep an eye out for. Of course, we do hope we find those buffaloes. We hope we find those V-nickels. We look for Hennig nickels on the channel. And Hennig nickels were fake nickels from mainly a handful of years in the 40s. And right now I'm just kind of quickly scanning through. That's unfortunately one of the new buffaloes, so nothing there. And the other thing which we find every now and again is a San Francisco proof. But it's been a good long while since we have seen one of those, and they will have a an S for San Francisco Mint rather than a P or a D. So far, though, this looks like mainly a bunch of new nickels. Now, that one could be interesting, just based on the color, because those war nickels will patina differently than a regular nickel. And there it is. Try to zoom in on that, but I'll pull it up here as well so you can see it. We've got a Philadelphia mint mark right there above the Monticello building, or Monticello building, depending on how you prefer to say it. And we've got ourselves a 1945. So this guy's 35% silver. I don't recall the current silver price, but I'll throw that up on the screen. And I love finding me some war nickels. Most people don't even know that there were nickels that did have silver in them. So that's why they're relatively easier to find than a lot of other denominations, because people just don't know about them. But let's get these last 2 rolls open and hope we find some more of those. Got a couple of off colors in there. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be war nickels or not. This was weird looking. And I will go back through these and look at the face and the reverse of every single nickel. I'm just going through them really quickly here in case we can just pull something out based on quick sight. A lot of the errors you do need a really good loop or microscope to see. We might have one more war nickel there. Maybe. Let's see. No. It's a 1983 or 85. It's just discolored. Unfortunately. All right, well, I don't know if we're going to find too much else in here. I'll go through them, and if we do find something, I'll bring you back in. All right, well, all those nickels produced was one 1945 Philadelphia war nickel, which is all I ever really asked for in a little nickel hunt. So to find a war nickel and 5 nickels is amazing. Now, the silver value on this, I did go ahead and look it up. It is $1.91 at today's spot price, which is $34.11. So not a bad little haul for a single nickel. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get into the dimes, and we're going to open again all of these on camera. I have been getting fairly lucky in my customer wrap dimes of late and finding at least one silver in almost every little customer wrapped hunt that I do. So let's check it out. Now, we are looking for a solid silver edge. Like right there, it's really white, but you can still see the copper edge there. So we're looking for that really white edge or that really gray edge, or in some cases, a really kind of almost dark black edge. So anything that is a solid color, you want to make sure you definitely pull out and take a closer look at. I do have in the document of the things that you can look for, all the stuff that can be interesting in dimes. Unfortunately, it's just not a very big list. So I typically don't take the time to hunt dimes the way I do other denominations. So these go quickly. Well, just like that, we are done with the dimes. I'm not seeing anything in here. I'll quickly rifle through these, and if anything jumps out, I'll bring you in. But I'm not hopeful because I pretty much just rewrapped these. So we're going to get on to the quarters. All right, well, let's go ahead and open up these quarter rolls the same way we did the nickels. I'm just going to open them all. I'm really curious about these two because they are crimped, which probably means they came from another hunter. I doubt they're mine because I don't really use that paper. I still have sort of what the bank uses, and look at that. That's going to be a whole roll of what appears to be brand new 2001 Rhode Islands. So that's not too exciting. I don't think there's any errors or varieties on that one that I'm familiar with. Made a mess with that. Not seeing silver in there. We might have some other things to look for. Yep, that's going to be a bunch of clad. No silver there. Oh, geez, we have more Philadelphia Rhode Islands, a whole roll of them. So that's not too much fun. And last but not least, no silver in roll number 5. So we really only have 3 rolls to hunt. I'll go through those, but I'm not optimistic, especially since these two look like they maybe came from another coin roll hunter. I hope they weren't mine. I don't think, like I said, I don't think I have this paper. for quarters that I would have used, because I'm still getting rid of this stuff. So who knows? Could be coins I've already searched. So I'll go through them and I'll bring you in if we find anything interesting. So we're getting through those 5 rolls. Of course, I just put away rolls 1 and rolls 4 because they were those brand new quarters and no interest there. We did come across in roll number 5. I'm kind of processing them in reverse. We got ourselves that little die chip in the corner of George's mouth, often called the Drooling George. And we don't find as many of these as we used to, but they're still out there to be found. And if you'd like to see it under the scope, kind of zoomed way in, there it is. We just got a little extra piece of metal there in the corner of George's mouth that's not supposed to be there. Well, that wraps up our quarters, and they were a little disappointing. We ended up with 2 bicentennial Philadelphias. Nothing really to look for there, but I just like pulling them to keep count of how many I find. And I did bring in for the 1 Drooling George. Again, this quarter's not in great shape. Even if it were, you are talking about, maybe $1, maybe $2 to the right buyer. And I'm seeing something up on his nose. That's just some dirt. But anyway, it is a Drooling George, kind of fun to find, but not a ton of value. So if you're collecting, maybe find a couple of them, flip them up, put them in your collection, and move on. As a quick recap, we did find a handful of copper pennies in our pennies. And of course, the star of the show would be our 1945 Philadelphia silver war nickel, because I love any hunt that has a little silver in it. Now, you may be wondering, is this what's going to happen to me if I go get that few rolls? And the answer is very possibly. Coin roll hunting is a volume game, and the more rolls you can get through, the more likely you are to find something. Doing these little 5 roll per denomination hunt oftentimes is going to lead to results like these. You'll find a lot of copper in your pennies. Your quarters, you might have a couple of finds. You may even go through your nickels and dimes for, 2, 3, 4 hunts in a row and not find really too much of value or interest at all. But every now and then you'll get lucky and find a little bit of silver. So if you're starting out, this is sort of a cheap and easy way to get into it. And you are going to find things. It just won't be lots and lots of things. So if you're looking for the thrill, I would definitely start with a box of pennies because it's cheap. If you want lots to look for, go to your quarters next. And then, if you just want to change a pace, I would say start looking at your nickels and dimes. And I personally do really like looking at nickels because I do love finding my old buffaloes and V-nickels and war nickels. They're just few and far between. So with that, we're going to wrap it up here. If you enjoyed this one, let me know in the comments down below. If you wouldn't mind, click that like button while you're down there. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click on that subscribe button. Then click that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. I'd really appreciate it. Special shout out to my channel members. Thanks for supporting the channel each and every month. And with that, I hope you guys are all doing well. June's going to be a weird month for me because I'm going to be out for about 2 weeks in the middle of it. So I'm trying to get as much content done here in the first part and try to get something, at least 1 video out a week because I will be gone for 2. But with that, I hope you guys are doing well. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.